We are now waiting our wonderful leaders in compassionate justice for the forum on reparations.
Hello, everyone.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling, Steve?
I'm feeling tolerable. I do not feel like I'm 18 years old, and I long for that. I long to return to that day. If most of you don't know, but we have everyone in our household has COVID, and most including the 2-year-old. Most everybody's recovering. Some of us better than others. But things are going along well. I am the chair of the Compassionate Justice Committee, and the membership includes, I want to introduce these people. They can wave, but they are Kay and Jerry Johnson. And believe it or not, Kay and Jerry are actually separate people. And they bring separate gifts and strengths to our group. Marcia Lewis, Jan Gilbert, Gwen is a member of our council, and Megan Huff is recently just joined us, and we look forward to working with her, and Karen Hernan, who is not with us today. She has let us know that she is unable to attend today. So the way this is going to proceed, this is a forum, and who knows what happens during forums. We're going to discuss the reparations policy, and then I'm going to read a brief statement. I hope it's brief, an overview, and then I'm going to let Kay speak a little bit about the reparations from her point of view, and then we will open it up for discussion and questions. I hope that you all received the policy and have been able to look at it so that we can discuss any issues, any concerns, any good ideas that you may have. Here is my statement. The process of creating the reparations policy was begun in 2017 when the congregation read Waking Up White by Debbie Irving. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. This motivated us to actually do something rather than just waking us up to ideas. We wanted to take action. I don't recall what our various options were at the time, but we settled on a wide-ranging educational assistance for African American and Native American students. In 2020, we issued our first college scholarships of $1,000 each to 3 Burnsville high school students. Those 3 students, the following year, 2021, then received follow-on scholarships of $2,000 each. In addition to that, in 2021, 3 new students were given scholarships of $1,000 to Burnsville High School graduates. And this reflects, the strong financial support of this congregation. I want to emphasize that the Compassionate Justice Committee works with the congregation. The congregation supports this committee financially and prayer-wise, and supports these programs, and we simply define them and execute them. Because of that strong financial support of the congregation in 2021, we also help support some other educational endeavors supporting minority students. These included, interestingly enough, paying down some of the student lunch debt at Burnsville High School. Are you aware that students are not able to graduate if they have lunch debt, if they have not paid their lunch debt. We also helped fund the Liberty School summer program. Liberty School did a big summer school program last year, and we supported that. And lastly, we contributed funds to the American Indian Scholarship Program. This was all 2021. 2022 looks to be another active year. Our reparations fund is up to $8,550. Thank you very much. There might even be more in there because I haven't seen the final result. But there are rumors. Jerry Johnson, rumor monger among the financials tells me there might be more in there. The Compassionate Justice Committee will match $4,500, bringing this to a total of over $13,000. So congregation, thank you again for your generosity, and thank you for supporting this program. We are continuing to work on improving the reparations program. Some of the main focuses that we want to do is to broaden its appeal. We want to promote the program more. We want to see more Native American students applying for support. And we want to expand beyond Burnsville. This is not limited to Burnsville. It is our local community. We have good contacts at Burnsville, but we want to expand or make the program available, promote it, make people aware of it, and thus apply for support from the program. We'd like to see younger students applying more for music, art, and sports. If you read the policy, you will know, even though we have paid out a lot for college scholarships, very worthwhile, we will also support younger students, middle school, well, even grade school, I guess, who want to take art classes, music classes, if they want to participate in sports, and any of the fees that are involved are a barrier. We will help those students. So we are really proud of our reparations program, and we thank you. I want to thank you again for the congregational support. We think that this is just a very valuable endeavor that is the outcome of reading the book Waking Up White in 2017. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you have a few words to talk about our work with Burnsville High School. Kay is our point person with Burnsville High School.
Well, the way this came about is we were aware of other groups that were giving money for scholarships. And so we inquired as to how we could find out about how we might be involved. And so we were directed to the Burnsville Foundation and interviewed with them and told them what we had in mind. And at the time, we were a little late to get involved that particular year. I think it was probably 2019. And as a result of that, we said, well, we'll get involved next year. But in the meantime, we wanted to do something to indicate to them that we were really interested in helping Burnsville High School. And so we gave them, I think it was either $1,000 or $2,000 that would help students that were applying to college or taking like SAT tests, that would help defer the expenses. And so that was our first endeavor. And then the following year, we were able to get involved to the point where, scholarships were offered. And the students that were applying had to be Native American or African American. And we came up with our own scholarship application because the Burnsville High School scholarship is there's no talk about nationality or religion or whatever. And we wanted it to make it known that this was really for African Americans or Native Americans. And all the students, when they apply, have to go through the Burnsville application process, which is rather lengthy and significant in the questions that are asked and so on. Whereas our scholarship application is rather brief, but it alludes to the fact that this is definitely a scholarship for African American or Native Americans. And I might just read to you a little bit about it, what it says on the application. The PCA Compassionate Justice application is open to all African American and Native American seniors enrolled at Burnsville High School who plan to pursue a post-secondary education. For the word reparations, Webster's Dictionary offers this definition: the making of amends for wrong or injury done and restoration to good condition. Slavery and the forced removal of natives from their lands were great wrongs. The pain from these wrongs continues today, exemplified by a system that represses economic, educational, employment, housing, and social opportunities for African Americans and Native Americans. Compassionate justice leads us to offer this scholarship, acknowledging the ongoing system of repression and moving toward restoration to good condition, one student at a time. And so we were able to keep contact with some of the leaders in the foundation. And so the following year, we said that we would fund 2 students. And what happened was 3 applications came back, and they were all so good. We decided we had to fund all 3. And so that was 2 years ago. And then last year we did the same thing and offered scholarships for 3 people, and were able to award them. And we're doing the same thing this year. Now, the sad part in all of this is the fact that we have not had the opportunity to meet any of these students because all of the award ceremonies have been virtual due to COVID. And so that we're hoping that maybe this year it'll turn out that we are able to attend, that they'll have an in-person ceremony, and that we will be able to actually meet the recipients of the scholarships. Marcia Lewis was the chairman of our committee for a couple of years, and Steve now. And so both he and she are the ones that have really gotten information from the students, maybe thank you notes and that sort of thing. And it might be interesting if Marcia or Steve were to share some of that. I can't really add much more than I have. So it's open to you, Steve, and any questions there might be.
Marcia, anything off the top of your head on from feedback from the students, the 6 students that we have awarded scholarships?
I happen to have a thank you note right here. It
How
says,
convenient, way to go.
Yeah. Dear Ms. Lewis, thank you so much for your kind words and your encouragement. It meant a lot and was such a boost to my week. I am honored to be one of the recipients of the Compassionate Justice Scholarship. Thank you for helping me continue my education goals toward becoming a pharmacist. am settling into the college routine, and like my professors, I will always be grateful and humbled for this opportunity, and always will remember how generous and kind the Presbyterian Church of the Apostles has been to me. Thank you again. So she is a student at Drake University in Iowa. And I should add that she was one of our first recipients, and one of the students whose scholarship we renewed last year. And I think it's important to note that before we renewed those 3 scholarships, we did ask them how things were going and whether they planned to continue their education. So we were not giving scholarships just because we wanted to give them. We needed to know that they were pursuing their education. And all 3 of our first year recipients who were granted the renewal were so grateful and so appreciative. It's been a real honor to be a part of this process. And I really feel like we are making a significant difference in the lives of these students have been beneficiaries of our scholarships.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I want to add that in the conversation with these students, in some cases, these students have conveyed the struggles that they have undergone, and how appreciative they are. And I think how our scholarships have been encouraging. You know, in one sense, $1,000 isn't a lot of money, but it does indicate encouragement. It indicates potential. It indicates belief in an individual. And for that reason, I think they're important. I'll also add, we will be contacting we have a meeting next week, and we'll be talking about this. But we will be reaching out and contacting these students to see how they're doing as we get ready to deliver more scholarship funds. With that, I will open it up to questions, comments, ideas.
I have a question.
Okay,
Are you still looking for more donations?
absolutely. Can I hand you the checkbook?
We're always open to contributions.
And I might add, you can donate anytime. If at any time during the course of the year, if an event, something moves you, if you're compelled, motivated, please, you can always donate money to the reparations fund. All you have to do is write reparations fund on the memo line. Thank you. Ken, please
Unmute.
unmute.
Okay. I'm just curious, a large number of Somali people here in Burnsville. Were any of the people who received funding Somali by any chance?
Kay or Marcia? Yes, the answer is yes. I can't tell you, Ken, the exact number. I do recall one of the essays that was written by, I think, a young man who, the essay was How to Be a Good Muslim.
Mhm.
And that was memorable to me.
Okay, that's good.
Do we know how many students are Somali?
I'm thinking it might have been 3.
Good.
Nice.
That's one of the conversations that we had when we were trying to define what it means to be African American. And as our pastor so eloquently said, once African students come to this country and in this culture, they are immersed in the system of racism that exists here. So it really doesn't matter whether they were born and raised here or their parents and grandparents were born and raised here, they are operating in the same oppressive system of racism. And so for that, we have opened it up to students, Black students that are of African descent or African American.
Interestingly enough, that was one of the questions that the people from the foundation asked, if we would be including Muslim students in what we plan to do. And our answer, of course, was yes.
And I might add, I hope I'm speaking accurately. I think we allow the students to self-identify.
Yes. Yes.
So
Thank you for that explanation, because I wouldn't have even thought from that point of view. So that was a great explanation.
you know, we do not want to get around the axle of defining specifically what it means to be an African American or a Native American. The last thing we want to do is specify percentages or places of birth. We let students announce their ethnicity.
Well, on our application, there's a place where they can designate whether they're African American or Native American. And then the other thing that we ask them to do is to write an essay. And that part of the essay is preceded with this statement: 250 years of slavery, 90 years of Jim Crow, 60 years of separate but equal, 35 years of racist housing policy. Until we reckon with our compounding moral debts, America will never be whole. And that is a quote by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And then there's another quote: let us put our minds together and see what life we can make for our children. And that's Sitting Bull. So then we ask them, in 500 words or less, please write an essay informing us of your values and belief system and the experiences, good and bad, that have formed these beliefs. Please include knowledge of experiences drawn from your cultural and racial heritage, mentors or individuals who have touched your life, inspired you, or made a difference in your life.
I'm thinking of a little work that we could do is to bulk up our statement on for Native Americans. And I'm thinking of Louise Erdrich. I would highly recommend her book, The Night Watchman, where she describes in that novel what it means to be a Native American and have your land stolen. And it's quite a moving description. Other questions, concerns, comments?
I do.
Yeah, Megan.
This may be a question for next week.
Yeah.
But are there, I know you talked about expansion. I can walk to Prior Lake High School. I don't know if there are plans to expand beyond Burnsville, or what you mean by expansion.
Well, we can, this does require some discussion.
Okay.
Obviously, Prior Lake had an event this year of a African-American woman traumatized. And so I don't know how I don't know how we can answer that, but
Okay.
it brings to mind that there is racism everywhere, not just Burnsville.
Mhm.
And so we can be called to do what we can wherever there there is racist activity, and Prior Lake being one. But I suspect, even though I haven't heard a doggone thing about Rosemont, I'll bet stuff's happened there. I have never heard about anything at Lakeville, but I'll bet there's stuff there.
I think Chris can fill us in on some of that. Chris Bellman,
Right.
he knows what's going on in all the schools.
Okay.
And yeah, thanks, Jen. And I'll remind everybody, Chris Belmont, who spoke to us last week as a principal at Burnsville High School, one of our main contact people.
He's in touch with the other schools.
Okay.
I have been thinking North Minneapolis, Little Earth, reaching out into the cities, and going to other neighborhoods than just south of the river.
Mhm.
But we don't have a big program, but at least just to put some feelers out, let them know about it.
Right. And
Steve, is the Division of Indian Work a resource that could be pursued for Native American issues?
sure, give me the name again.
Division of Indian Works.
Okay.
And it's a big organization that works in many ways to be helping. It's run by Native Americans, and it's helping in a lot of different ways. And I would think that they would be a good contact resource about how to do some reparations for some of their connections.
Where are they based, AJ?
They're in the cities.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
I've got a couple of people that work with them that I can give you a connection to. They were with us at St. Luke.
Okay.
Judy Gregg and Lori Cocking. Gwen can text you their contact. They would be good people to find out who to connect with.
Thank you. And I would, we welcome these kinds of suggestions, people that we can contact, organizations that are doing good work. You can let us know. Send us that information. Thanks, AJ.
Have we contacted other churches in this general area that we're talking about to see if they want to be part of the reparations program?
Another good idea. I don't think, have we contacted other churches?
Even one church reached out to us from across the country, that's all I remember.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. One church in Oregon heard about the reparations program and asked us about it. So we sent them information.
Yeah.
But collaborating with other churches, that's a good idea.
Can I just say how wonderful this church is and how proud I am that we do these things? And it's just, I am just so proud and grateful. And Megan, you could not have found a better group to work with. So glad you're on the committee. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yep.
I find that
Thanks, Chris.
we're not just, compassionate justice is not just the reparations. This is just a piece of the committee. We have many other things we do and other funding, supporting children in Haiti, in Central America, and all of the events that have hit iconoclastic, terrible political systems and economic and climate change issues. So it's definitely a committee that could use more people and more input.
Thank you, Jan, for that pitch. We could use more people. Anybody, if you're looking for a nice home, this could be the place to do philanthropic work. And Jan is absolutely right. We do lots of things from disaster relief on to legislative support.
If nobody has any questions right now, I found one of the essays from one of our applicants that I thought I would read to you that I think might give you a little bit better perspective on the kinds of lives that our recipients are living. She says, I have always had the desire to be kind and accepting of others, but also to fit in with people around me. I identify as African American and have a biracial heritage. However, I have never felt truly accepted by the people who have the same racial heritage as myself. Growing up in Burnsville, Minnesota, I always sought acceptance from the people who have African American heritage or Korean heritage. Society largely views me as an African American. It always felt like Koreans did not recognize that I had Korean heritage because I have some African American characteristics like curly hair. And African Americans could not tell that I am African American because I am light complected. My brother and I felt excluded from the bond connection that people who have the same background have because we were never fully, okay, I lost the rest of it. But anyway, being bilingual made me feel not alone as I did before. Learning different languages helped me have a more global view of people, but most importantly taught me that you should not give people in society the power to label you. Instead, you should follow your interests, embrace who you are as a person, and claim your own identity instead of looking for affirmation or acceptance. My journey of seeking acceptance in various communities led me to discover the passion of learning different languages and cultures. I no longer feel the need to prove who I am in order to be accepted by others, because I now have a diverse group of friends and mentors who accept me for who I truly am as a person. I embrace being in a multicultural family and a diverse high school and community. Those environments have helped me to practice greater empathy, kindness, and experience the benefits of service to others. Sorry for the glitch in that. I think I'm missing a page, but anyway, it gives you a flavor for the kind of students that we are supporting in their education.
Thanks, Marcia. That was really good. Really good. I will say that we'll be reading new essays this year, and they are always moving. You can contact me, any other members of the group, and with your suggestions, ideas. We are meeting next week after the worship service, I think. We will be discussing, our meeting will be on the agenda, of course, will be the reparations, will be scholarship. It will also be dealing with our budget and how we can be as supportive as we can to the various needs in our culture, in our world. So with that, I want to thank you for participating and wish you a very good day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, CJ. Compassionate Justice, that was a great presentation.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We appreciate the support.